Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Wellness Wednesday live with me every week. I'm so excited to be going live once again this week. And this week's topic has been requested I don't know how many times, and it's something that keeps coming up constantly with my clients and even just, in chit chatter when I speak to people every day. So I'm really looking forward to this. All right, guys. So for anyone who is hopping on here live, say hello, drop me a comment. We're going to be talking all about bloating, okay? So this week's live is all about bloating. We're going to talk a lot about what are the reasons why you're bloated, why you keep getting persistent bloating, and actually how to get rid of it once and for all, okay? So this week is a good one, so stay tuned and say hi, drop me a comment in the comment section, say hello, where you're listening in from, and also hit the like button and share this video, guys. This stuff is so powerful, what we're going to be talking today. It's powerful and it's going to change lives. I don't know about you, but bloating freaking sucks, okay? It's just so uncomfortable, and I know so many people that struggle with it on the daily. So, I would love to know, actually, before we start, if you could just drop a comment below in the comment section how often you get bloated. Drop a 1 if, not really get bloated. It's not something that you really struggle with. Drop a 2 if you struggle with it on the daily, or at least, it happens quite often. So let me know in the comments below if you suffer with bloating and how often do you suffer with bloating. All right, so let's get started. So guys, if you've not met me before, I'm Alessia. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and gut expert at Viasana Wellness, and I help busy women and men, anyone who has IBS and has struggled with IBS for a long time, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, and I help them heal their gut naturally, beat IBS, eat with confidence so they can feel normal again. And I do this all without diets and restrictive diets, for that matter, and living on medications for life. So welcome to my page. Welcome to today's live stream. We're talking all about bloating. Okay, guys, super excited. Hi, Lena. So good to finally see you in my community. I'm so excited that you're watching live, and I hope you enjoy and take some tips and tricks away with you today. So, all right, so I got my trusty notes here because I'm always prepared. I don't want to miss anything, and I want to make sure that I cover everything. So guys, all right, before I get started with, the juicy tidbits and information, I want to kind of relate to you a little bit, because I think a lot of the times we're inundated with information, but we forget that we're human beings. And when we read magazines, or when we watch videos online, or when we just, listen to even our doctors speaking to us, it can feel really impersonal, and it can feel like no one can really understand you. And I mean, that's how I felt when I had IBS for over 10 years. I felt like no one could understand me. I felt like, I would go to these doctors and they would just, just listen to me for like 2 or 3 minutes and then just, shrug me off and send me off with laxatives. I had chronic constipation, so they would send me off with laxatives and just not really listen to me, and not really pay attention. So I think that can happen a lot, and I really want to tell you that you're not alone in this journey. If you are struggling with persistent bloating, you wake up with like a bloated tummy every day, and no matter what you eat, you're bloated. It doesn't matter if you're eating healthy, or it doesn't matter if you're clean eating. It doesn't matter if you're having green smoothies, or or if you have a bender out with your friends. Doesn't matter. You're always bloated. I can understand, because I was there too. If you're struggling with bloating that's painful, uncomfortable, like your stomach is just like rock hard, that's not fun. And living like that is not normal, okay, guys? Bloating isn't normal. And I think there's like I think there's a situation nowadays where people have become so accustomed to feeling bloated that it's almost become like a norm. It's like, oh yeah, I'm bloated all the time, or yeah, it's just how I feel, and it's just, I don't know what to do with it, and that's it, but no, it's not normal, and that's not how you're supposed to be living your life. You should not be bloated all the time. It's a sign that there's something going wrong in your digestive system, and your gut needs immediate attention. Okay, so we're gonna dig deep today about what it is that's causing your bloating. So today we're actually gonna talk about 4 reasons why that you're bloated all the time. And of course there's more reasons, okay? I'm sure there's a lot more reasons. Everyone is different, and of course when I work with my one-on-one clients, it's all relative, and everyone is has their own unique gut and their own unique journey. However, these 4 things I see time and time again, in my practice, and even with just friends and family, and even myself and my own journey. These are the top 4 reasons why most people get bloated, and they can, they can in turn cause many different other reasons. So it's kind of like, a tree with lots of different branches. So that's what we're going to be talking to you today about. And then we're going to obviously give you something to do, an action step, because there's no point in me telling you all this amazing information without taking any action. So I'm going to give you some action steps that you can take. Of course, they're, generalized actions. Everyone's again going to have their unique journey, their unique gut, and that's what I talk a lot about in my IBS Freedom program and what we do with clients. So giving you the most important things that you can do today, some important action steps that will actually help you get rid of bloating once and for all. So let's get started. Now, before I get started, I do want to ask you, share this video. It's going to help someone. You never know. I mean, 1 in 3 people have bloating. I can literally, every person I meet lately, and even just like when I sit with my friends, and we talk, and they're always talking about how bloated they are. And so I'd love for you if you could just click that share button and give me some love, like this, share it, and let's help others. Let's share this information. Okay, so let's get right into it today. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk to you about today, or the first reason why I believe people are bloated and we get bloating, is indigestion. Okay, so that's the first one, and I put it at the top because if we're not digesting our food correctly, then something is going to go amiss, and that's where we have to start. Okay, we have to start with, is our digestive system working correctly? Now, what is indigestion? It simply means that you're eating food and it's not being processed properly. Okay, so it's not being broken down by the enzymes in your body, in your stomach, in your gut. It's not being broken down properly. And what happens and what that causes is it causes fermentation. Okay, so that food goes indigested down to your bowels, and there's bacteria there. Now, we know that there's lots and lots of bacteria, trillions and millions in there. And what are they going to do? They're going to feed on that food. Okay, they're going to actually eat that food, and they're going to cause gas, because while they're eating this food, they produce byproducts, they produce gas. Okay, and that gas is what is fermentation, and that's what's causing your gas. Okay, and of course gas is going to build up in your stomach, and it's going to make you balloon, and you're going to have that either trap gas, where that sits right underneath your rib cage, feels uncomfortable, and then you get that distension, that bloating. So indigestion happens to a lot of people, and when I was in my throes of IBS, I could not digest lots of foods. I couldn't digest gluten, I couldn't digest dairy, the lactose, the sugar in dairy. I discovered that I couldn't handle a lot of vegetables, and a lot of fruit as well. So I had a lot of these different foods that I couldn't digest properly. Okay, so that was causing fermentation because it would go right through me. I wouldn't digest it properly, and then it would hit that bowel, and then all those microbes would just attack it and then cause all of this, all of this, this fermentation. So that was a problem, okay? And I had to address that, okay? I had to address that. And we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do later on in the live stream today about how you can actually improve your digestion. And so yeah, that's number one. You don't want to cause that gas, that fermentation, and we want to get rid of that. All right. Number two is dysbiosis. Now, this is actually also kind of related to number one, because what happens when you have all of this bacteria eating away at this food, it multiplies. Now, imagine if you're intolerant to a food and it goes into your bowel and it's causing an infection, it's causing a reaction or a food intolerance. That bad bacteria is going to multiply. Okay, we have good and bad bacteria in our guts. We don't only have good bacteria. We have bad and good. So we have that balance. Now, when it gets tipped over into the bad bacteria, that's what's causing dysbiosis, that imbalance, okay? So an imbalance of bad bacteria causes this, overgrowth of the bad bacteria that causes a lot of gas. It causes a lot of, imbalances in your gut microbiome. So we want to avoid that, okay? So the dysbiosis is a result, essentially, of not being able to digest your food properly, okay? So we want to start looking at what it is that's causing your problem, what kind of foods are causing you to not be able to digest. And it could be different for everyone. It could be, some people could be intolerant to starchy foods or resistant starch that's found in beans and legumes. Some people are intolerant to fruit or fructose. It's very, very popular, especially with those who have IBS, because most people who have IBS also have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So we want to look a little bit deeper at what is causing you to not be able to, break that food down and digest it properly. So then we're going to look at now number three, and I'm going to spend a little bit more time with number three because it's actually one of the most common reasons is food intolerances, okay? So food intolerances is very common, so I had a food intolerance to gluten and dairy. Food intolerances are different than food allergies, okay? So most people who have gut issues, most people who have IBS have food intolerances. If you have a food allergy, it could be a peanut allergy, it could be a seafood or shellfish allergy, or it could even be any other specific food. That's completely different. We're talking food intolerances here. So what is a food intolerance? So what happens when, I'm going to explain to you what happens when you have a food intolerance and how it relates to bloating, and most people don't realize that it's completely related. So food intolerances, when you have an intolerance to gluten, for example, okay? So let's say you have an intolerance to gluten and you eat a piece of bread and all of a sudden you have an intolerance, you have a reaction, okay? So now you know that you're intolerant to gluten. Now what happens is that when food particles go into your gut and they're not digested properly, number one, indigestion, that bad bacteria, they start feeding on it, number two, and now what happens is you've got the lining of your stomach not strong, it's breaking down slowly due to inflammation. So food intolerances cause inflammation, okay? Systemic inflammation. Your body goes into an immune response, okay? So what happens in an immune response in the body when you've got an intolerance? Say that, food particle now no longer stays within the gut, the stomach and the bowel, it's now in your bloodstream, okay? And that's what is called leaky gut. So now with leaky gut, you've got all these toxins in your bloodstream, okay? So that it could be anything. It could be antibiotics, it could be food intolerances, whether it's lactose, whether it's gluten, or another food intolerance, beans, legumes, broccoli, whatever it is. Everyone has their own unique gut. What happens then? You've got this inflammation happening in your bloodstream, okay? Your body releases what is known as histamine, okay? So that histamine release causes fluid to go into the tissues. It's an inflammatory response, and that causes water retention, okay? That causes your body to hold on water, and that causes that bloating effect, okay? So that's how food intolerances cause bloating, directly related, because of that histamine release, because of that inflammation, okay? So you've got to really dig deep and discover what it is that you're intolerant to. You've got to remove those foods. So leaky gut is a big one. So if you're struggling with bloating, you most likely have some form of leaky gut. Something is going amiss. You're not digesting food properly. You've got an overgrowth of bacteria happening, and that bacteria is having a complete party in there. So they're literally having a complete buffet, I call it, because they're eating away at all this indigested food and causing this gas and causing the bloating, okay? So that is what's most likely happening. Now, the last one that I'm going to talk to you about is bad lifestyle habits. Now, this is actually one of the most common, I would say, like most people that struggle with bloating are doing things wrong. They're going to get supplements, they're trying juice cleanses, they're trying detoxes, green smoothies, probiotics. They're going, I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, when I had IBS, I would go into, I mean, I could just remember like going into this health food store, like the organic shops and stuff, the health, you know, where you can get supplements and things. I would walk in there and I would ask, you know, for the most expensive, the most potent probiotic, because that's what I thought would help, okay? And this is just one of many, many stories, by the way, of me walking into a supplement shop and, you know, grabbing anything that's, you know, going to help me. I went through this, okay? I went through this and I would take it, and guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing would work because I wasn't addressing the underlying issues of what was actually going on with my gut and why I was getting chronically constipated and always bloated. You know, of course I was chronically constipated, wasn't eliminating, all this junk was staying in my stomach, in my gut, in my bowels. I wasn't eliminating properly. Of course I was bloated all the time. I wasn't, addressing, my food intolerances. I wasn't addressing, the lifestyle habits. So let's look at the lifestyle habits. So what are bad lifestyle habits that I see everyone do? And by the way, I'm guilty of, a few of these, and I still do them sometimes. And I have to be mindful because we all have habits that we've built over time, whether that's taking tons of antibiotics or, not eating healthy, or eating too much junk, or, eating too much sugar, being stressed out, going out and drinking too much alcohol. Like, we all do this, right? It's just life, right? I'm a nutritionist and I'm a gut expert, but I'm human at the end of the day. And I still have these days where I have to, catch myself and be like, okay, Alessia, if you carry on like this, you're gonna bring those symptoms back, right? And I don't want to do that. So I want to be able to, stay symptom free. That's super important. And I have been for 5 years now, and I'm very, very grateful. But anyway, so let's move on. So bad lifestyle habits. Number one is not chewing your food properly, okay? And I'm guilty of this, guys. I'm guilty. I wolf down food. I mean, I eat so fast, and I have to really be mindful. And I teach this to my clients as well, because you have to eat slow and you have to chew your food, okay? If you don't chew your food properly, what happens is that it's going to literally reach your stomach undigested. We have saliva, and we have specific glands in our mouth that release enzymes, okay, that help to break down, and the saliva actually breaks down carbohydrates and amylase, the enzyme amylase. And amylase is super important, okay? And I love how our bodies work, because everything is just done, everything is there for a reason. And that's what I love about holistic health, is that we need to support our body to do what it knows what to do best. So chewing our food allows that amylase to release in our saliva, break down the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the big big macro that is the most difficult to break down, and that's the one that the bacteria love to eat. Bacteria love sugar, bacteria loves carbs, and that is what they feed on the most. So they love it. And so if you eat, that food and you wolf it down and it gets to your stomach and it's, not pre-digested, your enzymes are working extra. Like I look at enzymes like Pac-Man, they're like eating. And if you're not going to digest properly beforehand, that, those Pac-Mans are going to have like extra work, right? So they're not going to break down the food properly. And then again, it gets to your bowels, indigested and not fully broken down and not absorbable. And so you've got that resistant starch, you've got, all those indigestible carbohydrates. Lovely party for that bacteria. Okay, so chew your food properly. Now you don't have to chew it like to a complete liquid. Of course that's ideal, but I get it, it's not always very nice, but you've got to make sure that at least you're not wolfing down large pieces of food without actually chewing it at least 20 times. So start being mindful of that and start, making sure that you're taking care of actually, sitting down and eating with intent, like slow down, basically. We live in a world where we're always just rushing. I know about you, I'm always busy, I'm always running around. Sometimes I don't even have like 5 minutes to just sit down and eat, and actually feel and experience those amazing flavors and actually just be mindful about how I'm eating. Now, the second lifestyle habit is drinking with your meals. So drinking water with your meals. So we've talked about those Pac-Man, those enzymes, right? Enzymes are the key to life, okay? Without enzymes, we cannot break down food. And what happens when you're going to, you're eating and you're having this wonderful meal, and then you wolf it down with water or soda or wine or, insert whatever drink, juice, whatever, any liquid. What happens is you're actually diluting these enzymes. So you're diluting not just the enzymes, actually, you're also diluting your digestive fire. So your digestive fire is a concept in Ayurveda, which is very ancient medicine, holistic medicine, but it's super important. Your digestive fire is stomach acid, okay? That is essentially your stomach acid. You are diluting it and causing your stomach not to be filled with enough enzymes and stomach acid to break that food down. So you have to start getting into that habit. And I tell you, it was one of the first lifestyle habits that I changed that really, really helped, reduce that bloating for me. It changed it a lot for me. So definitely start doing it. Don't drink with your meals. You don't want to dilute that stomach acid. You want to, keep that digestive fire really nice and strong and burning, ready to break that food down, okay? And another one is chewing gum or smoking. So that causes you to inhale a lot of air, okay? So that's another reason why you can get bloated a lot. So if you're someone who generally smokes or generally chews a lot of gum, it can also be another reason why you are bloated. Not so much, but it is a reason why it can happen. But definitely chewing your food and not drinking with your meals are two of the biggest ones that will change a lot for you, okay? So guys, those reasons, the number one was indigestion, gas, all right? You want to start making sure that you're eating foods that you can actually digest properly, okay? So think about, foods that are easy to digest, foods that are healthy and whole foods, real foods, not processed, anything that your body can recognize, okay? But also, you've got to look at your food intolerances if you've got any food intolerances, okay? And we also talked about dysbiosis. That's also another reason. Leaky gut is a big one for a lot of people, and I address this in my one-to-one client coaching program, which is called the IBS Freedom Program, and I work with clients one-to-one, whether they have IBS or bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. We look at how we can actually clean up house and then rebuild the gut. This is super important. It's a step-by-step system. And if you are struggling to really get rid of bloating and gas and constipation, we need a system, okay? It's not just, I get this question a lot, like, Alessio, what can I do to get rid of IBS? What can I do to have a better digestive system? Or what can I do to just fix my gut? And there's just not one way, okay? It's not. But I can tell you one thing is having a step-by-step system that I worked with on myself and I use with my clients, of course, tailored to them, and being consistent and also taking one step at a time. This is super important. I see a lot of clients that are just doing too many things at once, trying this, trying that, trying this probiotic, trying that supplement, and it's too much, okay? Your gut is just going insane. It doesn't know what to do. We need to first address what's going on underneath, and then we need to repair, okay? So that's the most important step. But you know, lifestyle habits are super important, and that was that last. Lifestyle habits, start changing them, chewing your food, not drinking liquids when you are eating at meals, all right? So those were the reasons, okay, that you're most likely bloated. Like I said at the beginning of the live stream, everyone is different. Everyone's gonna have their own unique gut, okay? Everyone. My gut is not like your gut, okay? It's different. We all have our own unique bio-individuality. And again, like I said, I address all of this within my IBS Freedom program. But these are the most common reasons why you're bloating, okay? So if you've hopped on just now, you can listen to the replay and go through those main reasons. Now, 4 action steps, all right? This is where it gets good, guys. Now, you're probably on this live stream, okay, and watching, and you're like, yeah, okay, this is really good. Like, this is really interesting. Like, wow, I'm learning so much. Cool. And then you log off and you go back to your old ways. That's not going to get you anywhere, okay? That's not going to really change your life. That's not going to make you get rid of bloating in any way. And so what I want you to do is I want you to take action, okay? That's why I do these live streams. That's why I hop on here. That's why I have the IBS Freedom Society Facebook group, because I want you to take action. I'm just like, I hate seeing people struggle how I struggle, because if back then, if I had somebody who would show me the way, who would help me, and who would, you know, basically if I had me back then, I would have, you know, not had to struggle 10 years with IBS. I would have maybe had it for like 2 or 3 years, and I would have sorted it out and I would have been okay, but I didn't. I had to go all alone. I spent thousands of dollars on all sorts of things, tests and supplements and, you know, things that just didn't work, and systems that didn't work for my unique gut, you know, programs that were general and things that just, I just wish, you know, I would have worked with somebody back then. But luckily I did eventually see a naturopath, and everything changed after that. So it's what put me onto this path, you know. And so taking action, guys, it's all about taking action. So I'm going to share with you 4 steps, 4 things that you need to do now, okay? And you don't need to do all 4 of these things immediately, okay? I want you to do only one, okay? 1 step at a time, but I'm giving you 4 today. Number 1 is taking digestive supplements, all right? Trying digestive supplements, because that's actually going to help you with that indigestion, and it's actually going to boost the digestive enzymes within already. And if you take them with meals, they're harmless. They're not gonna, you know, do anything. They're pretty harmless. They're actually really good, especially if you're, you know, eating things that are a little hard to digest, whether that's lactose or, you know, beans, legumes, things that are a little harder to digest. And they usually come with a probiotic, which is great. But enzymes are one of the best supplements. You know, I don't really recommend a lot of supplements to a lot of my clients, but enzymes do really help, especially when you're just starting to heal your gut, and you know, you just starting to understand like what your food intolerances are and things like that, and you're on the beginning of the journey. So it's very good that you try those. Now, number 2 is to address your dysbiosis. So looking at changing your lifestyle, reducing your stress levels, not taking too many antibiotics and things that would disrupt that gut flora. Infections can do that, like if you have an infection, or if you have, even just the common cold and they give you all these like medicine, that can disrupt your gut flora. So we want to kind of, change our lifestyle. We want to eat better. Yeah. So I talk about beating IBS without restrictive diets, and that's what we want to do. We want to stop, feeding the bad guys, and we want to increase the good guys. We want to make sure we keep that balance of the microbiome. So addressing your dysbiosis with better lifestyle habits, better food, looking at your food, getting rid of that processed junk, getting rid of that alcohol, and getting rid of that sugar, things that feed those bad guys. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is to start paying attention to how food makes you feel. All right, so how does food make you feel? If you're starting to notice patterns, things that are, giving you a reaction, you might have a food intolerance. Okay, so if you notice that every time you have ice cream, you have a lactose, and you might have a lactose intolerance. But guess what? A lot of people that think they're lactose intolerant are not necessarily lactose intolerant. They're reacting to the casein or the proteins that are found in the milk, or milk products. So it's sometimes not the lactose. Gluten, okay? Looking at gluten, does gluten give you a reaction? Other common food intolerances are eggs, especially the egg whites. So egg whites are pro-inflammatory for a lot of people. So the protein in egg whites, peanuts or nuts in general, especially peanuts, but nuts in general can be a really big problem. Legumes and beans, those are the most common food intolerances. But things like FODMAPs, it could be like resistant starch, it could be garlic, it could be onion, it could be lots of different things, and it's unique to you. So I would suggest to you to keep a food diary and start tracking how your body feels after every meal. Do it for a week. That's it, just a week. And start looking at, some trends, and patterns. That's going to help a lot. Okay, so looking at your food intolerances, finding what they are, and then getting rid of them. Okay. And finally is addressing those bad lifestyle habits. So start chewing your food properly. Be more mindful about how fast you're eating your food. Sit down, take it slow. Eat your meals a little bit slower than usual. Sit down at meal times rather than eating in the car or on the go. And making sure that you don't drink with meals. So have like a glass of water maybe an hour before your food, and then an hour after your food. So not together, not with your meals. Okay, so addressing lifestyle habits. So I want to know now from you in the comment section below, I want to know which one out of those 4 things you're going to try from now till, let's say, next week. Let's give it a week, okay? We don't want to overwhelm you. We want to take action, guys. Remember, action is what changes things, okay? And if you feel anxious, like you're like, oh my God, there's just too much to do, okay? Take it one step at a time. That's what I do with my clients in my program. We don't do everything all at once. That's why it's 6 months long, 3 to 6 months long, depending on the state of the gut of the client. So we have to take it step by step. We have to address things slowly. So same thing with yourself, like take it easy. Don't overwhelm yourself. One thing, just drop it in the comments. What is one thing you're going to take action on this week out of those 4 things? Whether it's, paying attention to your food and lifestyle habits, chewing more, not drinking with your meals, whether it's addressing your food intolerances. That might be to track in a food diary, or it might be even to see a doctor, even just to see if something's going on, like find out what is going on. And eating better, that's also one of those action steps that you might need to be taking, okay? Eating better, eating less processed foods, eating more healthy foods. Now, when I say healthy is different for everybody, okay? Not all healthy foods is healthy for gut health. And actually, I address this in my free IBS ebook. So if you haven't actually gotten a copy, then you definitely have to get a copy. So grab, I'm gonna actually share the link in the comment section, and you can join the IBS Freedom Society on Facebook. Here we go. All right, I'm just gonna share that in the comments. So I've just shared in the comments the link to my free Facebook support group, and it's an amazing support group where we share lots of information. Just come in there and drop all your questions, but make sure you get your free copy of this ebook, 5 Myths About IBS That Are Keeping You in Pain and How to Ease Your Symptoms for Good. This book, I've poured my heart and soul into it, and it's actually I'm actually basically sharing everything that my clients pay me. I'm sharing it with you for free. So you better grab your copy, okay? Because I share all the information about what are the things that you're doing that are keeping you still in pain. And even just changing one of these things is going to make a huge improvement in your IBS symptoms. So definitely join us in the IBS Freedom Support Group. The link is in the comment section. Now guys, remember I talked a lot about action. Taking action is what makes the difference. There's no point in listening to this live stream or reading my posts, or there's no point really in just getting all this information but not taking any action. All right, so I'm loving the comment section right now. Lena, you tried a food diary, it didn't help. 1 week is fine, the next with the same food, it's not. Yeah, so you've got to look at it a little bit deeper. It can be very confusing for a lot of people. Why 1 week you're okay with one food and the next you're not, but sometimes it's actually due to build up. So food intolerances don't always show up 24 hours, 72 hours later. It can build up over time. So you have to kind of look at that. I'd love to chat more with you, Lena. Let's look at what other comments we have. Hey, Andrea, what's up? Yeah, you do need to chew more. Chewing is so important. Yes, don't drink, Lena, at meal times. Yeah, we've got lots of comments in there. I'm going to answer them at the end of the live stream. All right, guys, I'm so loving the comments. Definitely join us in the free IBS support group if you haven't yet joined. The link to click on is in the comment section. All right, guys, so I hope this live stream has helped. Okay, so remember, it's all about taking action, and if you have any more questions, I'd love to speak with you a little bit more one-on-one, because again, like I said, we all have our unique gut. Okay, so everyone has their own unique gut makeup, and everyone is unique. So I want to really kind of dig deep a little bit about your unique situation. Okay, so guys, I'd love to know any questions. Just drop them in the comments or send me a PM, and I would love to help you out on your journey on a more one-to-one basis. All right, guys, so this week is done. I'm so excited about how today went, and stay tuned for next week's live. It's going to be really good, and as always, to your gut health and happiness, I will see you next week for Wellness Wednesdays. All right, guys, chat soon. Bye-bye.